Om Samana Bhavatu Samana Bhavatu Karvavai Tejasvinavaditamastu Navidvishavai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deva Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Ratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadguru Brahma Vidvaram. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayane Swayam
Yasimad-Kratitam Puranamurya Manati Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshini Bhagavati Ashtadashadhyayini Ambartvamanusandadhami Bhagavati Devavadeshini Yam Brahma Varunera Rudra Maruta Sumanti Divyaistavai Vedai Samvapadakramo Parishadai Gayanti Yam Samaka Yanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogina Yasyantam Navidusura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha.
So we are seeing the different vibhutis of the Lord, and we are seeing till verse number 26. Now continuing for the 27, he says, Uchchai Shravasam Ashwanam Vidhimam Amritodbhavam Airavatam Gairindranam Naranam Cha Naradipam. So when this Amrit Manthan was done, churning of the ocean, so many great things came out of it. Some 13 precious things came out of it, and out of that, 2 of them are listed here. Uchchai Shravas is the horse of, it's a flying horse. And Airavat, again, is a white elephant. So this Airavat and Uchchai Shravas, both of them are given to Indra. So various siddhis the human mind can attain when one starts turning the mind, thus starts doing the sadhanas, great powers will start manifesting. That's the symbolism of the Samudra Manthan. Uchchai Shravas and Airavat both are such that they can go into any world. So they can fly. And that elephant also is the elephant of Indra now. He sits on that and he comes. And then he says, Naranam Cha Naradhipam. Amongst the men, I am the leader. So if somebody is manifesting leadership qualities, then that is also the vibhuti of Bhagavan. Very few people are leaders. Majority are only followers. Few people take initiative. Few people actually have a vision, and in spite of continuous lack of support or lack of encouragement, they continue to go on because they have the right vision and understanding. So amongst the men, Bhagavan says he is the leader. So leadership qualities one should cultivate as an individual and also in children. How much do we teach our children to lead and become leaders for the country? Nobody teaches them. They only teach them get a good job, get a good percentage, good education, so you get a good job. But to lead the country, not only in politics, in every field we need leaders. To progress in that field, leaders are required. Followers are so many. And in fact, a good follower only can be a good leader also. But a good follower, the transition from a good follower to a good leader, very few actually take. Either people want to be only leader, and they don't know the ground realities. Or they just remain followers. You tell, we will do. Bas. Why don't you take initiative now? That is not in my case. You tell, we will do. So anyway, the leadership qualities, he says, this is the quality of the Lord, the vibhuti of the Lord. Then comes Ayudhana Maham Vajram. This Vajra is a very powerful weapon. Infallible is this Vajra. Vajra is a weapon of again Indra. And this demon called Vritrasur had to be killed. And he can be killed. So it was said that only a selfless person, a weapon made from the body of a selfless person only can kill him. He said, who will give their body for such a thing? And there was this Dadichi Rishi.
Spine.
Obviously. So the spine of that Dadichi Rishi is what was asked. He didn't even think twice. He just sat and he gave up his body. He said, use the spine. First case of organ donation was in our culture. So don't ask if I give my body, will I get Sadgati or not? If I give my eyes next at birth, I will get eyes or not. Anyway, if you don't give also, it's going to burn or get decayed only. The vision, the capacity to see is going to come with us in any case. It's not this fleshy eye. But people who are attached to their body, they can't handle it. People who are detached, they don't bother. It's like you keep moving on, over. The body is gone behind. You keep moving on. But those who are attached to the body, they'll keep coming back. Coming back in the sense, they will find it difficult to move ahead. For them, this organ donation also is very difficult. Because suddenly they find, this body, उसमें से आँख निकाल लिया, कान निकाल लिया, ये निकाल लिया, वो निकाल लिया, oh God, attached to it. People who are detached, they are not bothered about the body even while they are living. What to talk about after the body dies. So that Dadichi Rishi is the highest example of selfless sacrifice. He gave up his spine only. And with that Vajra is made. And that Indra uses that Vajra to kill. The symbolism of the story is very beautiful. Vritrasura is our thoughts. The demon created by our selfish thoughts and that ego. That can be destroyed only by selflessness. And this Indra is also a terrible fellow. You see this how it is. If you put these two shlokas together, he has Uchchaishravas with him. He has Airavat with him. He has this Vajra also with him. Thunderbolt, Vajra he has. He is the king of the heavens. Still the fellow is insecure. What more do you want in life? Still very insecure. And heights of insecurity is, he uses that Vajra against Krishna Bhagavan. He throws it on Krishna Bhagavan. Bhagavan just catches it. He says, what is it? It's like throwing a small little blade of grass on Bhagavan. That Vajra works because of Bhagavan, and this man used it against Bhagavan only. When he was that Govardhan Leela, when he did, he got so angry, he threw that Vajra only on Bhagavan. Bhagavan just caught it. What are you doing? And this same Vajra he threw on Hanumanji also. He is another example of highest selflessness. How will that Vajra kill him? That's why that is there, that Hanuman Chalisa has that one line. Haath Vajra aur dhwaja viraje, kandhe munte jane usate. So all that power, that Vajra comes because of the power of Bhagavan. Any big weapon, the power comes from Bhagavan. And if you throw it on Bhagavan, it will not work. That power is useless. And that Indra did that. So Guruji always says that. That power, he says what? Guided missile in misguided hands. It is like that. The power which is there will become powerless when it is used against Bhagavan. Because the very source of power is Bhagavan. And in that arrogance, he threw that on Bhagavan. How many people do like that? That is an example of betrayal. people who would have made them what they are, they will go against them only. See, material field that happens, understandable. Spiritual field also that happens. That disciple who was zero, who was nobody, that Guru out of compassion he gives so much of knowledge, and that disciple becomes so arrogant and he goes against the Guru only, saying Guru doesn't know, I know more than the Guru. That's called the knowledge ahankar, Gyan ahankar. One has to be very, very humble. So the more power comes, no, if surrender is not there, then that power will corrupt. That's why when people say that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, the condition there is if you don't have surrender. If surrender is there, absolute power will be used for service of the society, nothing else. Look at the power that Hanumanji had. No problem. Power is not a problem. Problem is how I use that power and how I feel powerful because of that power, and I lose my humility. So this Uchchai Shrava Samashwanam, and then he says Ayudhanam Aham Vajraha. Dhenunam Asmi Kamadhuk. Even Kamadhenu came out from that milky ocean. And that Kamadhenu also is supposed to be a cow which fulfills all the desires. And that cow was the Vasishtha Rishi. And Vishwamitra saw that and he got tempted by that. That time he was a king. Vishwamitra was not a saint that time. He was a king. And he had finished some battle and he had come to the hermitage of Vasishtha Rishi, and Vasishtha Rishi managed to feed his whole army. So that he wondered, how did this Rishi feed my whole army? Then he saw that there was Kamadhenu there. He said, I want that Kamadhenu. And he fought a war with Vasishtha Rishi. Just imagine, against a Rishi, just for the sake of material possession. And imagine the Vasishtha Rishi. Vasishtha Rishi was not possessive of the cow. He didn't fight because of that. He fought because this Kamadhenu should not go in the hands of this man who is thinking is not proper. For that he fought. And how he fought? Nothing. He just put his danda in front. And whatever missile that Vasishtha Rishi was, that Vishwamitra, that time he was a king, he was firing at him, nothing could affect him. That danda absorbed everything. That's the spiritual power of that Vasishtha Rishi. That humbled him completely, Vishwamitra. Then he gave up his kingdom and all that and went to do his tapasya and everything. So that incident not only shows how much one should be aggressive to protect the good and not allow that to fall in the hands of those who are not ready for it. And also it shows that this Vasishtha Rishi's spiritual power, ultimately Vishwamitra actually got defeated, but that became a turning point in his life and he became a great saint. So the ego of Vasishtha Rishi was not, he didn't do it for his ego, and so one more saint got created from that whole incident. So Dhenu Namasmi Kamadhuk. So that Kamadhenu is a wish fulfilling this cow. Rajanas Chasmi Kandarpaha. He says, amongst the procreators, I am the god of love, Kandarpa, Cupid. You should read a commentary on this. Beautiful commentary Gurudev has written. Sarpanam Asmi Vasukihi. Amongst the snakes, serpents, not snakes, serpents, I am Vasuki. So Sarpa is the snake which has one hood. And Naga is a serpent who has many hoods. So that's next one, you say Anantas Chasmi Nagana. Among the Nagas, I am Sheshnag. Among the Sarpa, I am Vasuki. Vasuki is also very interesting. Vasuki is a ring in the hand of Shivji. Shivji has one small snake in his hand. That's the ring of Shivji. And that same ring of Shivji is so small that Vasuki only was used for this Samudra Manthan also. He became so big. And then they used it for churning. And obviously now he is getting squeezed. So then he started spitting the poison. Nobody can handle that poison except Shivji. So in the mind, one of the symbolisms, there could be many, but one of the symbolisms is the mind of the realized master. When he wants, he can make it small. When he wants, he can make it big. And that mind can be used up even for the service of the whole society, anytime. And it will never touch that person. And obviously, all that impurities which have come out earlier, who can handle all those? Only that person will handle to whom it belongs. Then anybody else handle that? Nobody else can handle it. So that Vasuki, amongst the serpent, he says, amongst the snakes I am Vasuki, and among the serpent I am Sheshnag. So Sheshnag is a 1,000-hooded serpent. One of the symbolisms Gurudev used to give is that the 1,000-hooded snake is like the mind which is filled with lots of desires. Generally our mind is extroverted, but here is a Nag which all the hoods are facing Bhagwan, and Bhagwan is resting. So it's a mind which has become introvert. And that mind which has divinized its desires. So instead of giving up all the desires, turn all the desires and their attention to Bhagwan. Divinize them. This is Anantas Chasmi Naganam Varuno Yadasamaham. Among the deities of water I am Varuna. Pitrunam Aryama Chasmi. Amongst the Pitrus I am Aryama. Again a presiding deity in charge of the Pitrulok. So between this world and the next birth, whichever birth we get, whichever world, whichever body one gets, the in-between state of that Jiva is called as the Pitru, the ancestor. And all such souls live in one plane of consciousness that is called Pitruloka. According to their karma, they spend time there. And that Pitruloka, their time, 1 year of ours is equal to 1 day of theirs. And that's why we do Shraddha here. So that we are feeding the Pitrus. So the Pitrulok is governed by Aryama, one of the deities. Yama Sanyamatamaham. Amongst those who control, I am Yama, Lord of Death. Prahladas Chasmi Daityanam Kala Kalayatamaham. Amongst the demons, I am Prahlad. So he was the best. Such a great devotee of the Lord. The very word Prahlad means one who is always in joy. No matter what he goes through, he will never be miserable. What a state that is. That one doesn't become miserable only. Devotion must bring me to that state. If I cry, crave, complain, keep on wondering why it has happened to me, I am not a devotee. So whatever has come from Bhagwan only. Why can't I accept? That Prahlad had unquestioning acceptance. He didn't even question that what fault of mine that my father is treating me like this. He didn't even ask his father. Forget asking Bhagwan or life or anything. He didn't ask his father or said, why are you treating me like this? And he kept doing his dharma. He kept on chanting name of Bhagwan. So that is another quality of a bhakta. When suppose people think, bhakta is to bichara bhagat admi. Mean you can make a fool out of him. No. Prahlad was the only person in that whole kingdom who was chanting the name of Narayan. That king has given the order that everybody must take only my name. You have to only chant Hiranyaya Namah. You don't take the name of Vishnu. You see Gurudev's commentary in this, so nice. This is one part I am just going to read. He says, according to Hiranyakashipu, in his kingdom, all should pray only to the state and not to the Lord of the universe. This reminds us of some of the modern fatherland theories and the laughable buffoonery in the secular state creeds. This is what we are doing today. Which God, what God, I am a secular, I don't believe in this, I don't believe in that. And then do what? Hiranyaya Namaha, Goldaya Namaha. Keep doing. And then cry, corruption ho gaya, ye ho gaya, wo ho gaya, every day one scam keeps coming out. But then we are worshipping wealth, not Bhagwan. So Prahlad was such a strong person that he stood by his conviction. That's a devotee. That's not obstinacy. That is living by one's conviction that Bhagwan is the supreme. Whether people are there or not, even if my father tells me, even if he is the king, it doesn't matter. That's why he is an Ananya Bhakta. You know, in Tulsidas' Ramayana he says that a person who is not a Bhakta of the Lord, even if that person is your own family member, you can leave that family member and go. If that person is not allowing you to practice devotion to Bhagavan. Not only leave and go, he says you consider that person as an enemy. That's an exaggeration, but saying Tajiye koti sama vairi. Tajiye means tyag karo, you leave. If they don't allow you to practice bhakti, you leave them. Prahlad didn't leave him, but he did not leave his practice. So many times we leave thinking about Bhagavan because of temporary relationships. Because this person is not allowing, that person is not allowing, this person is not happy, that person is not happy. Our relationship with Bhagavan is permanent. Our relationship with people is temporary. They are not going to come with us. And if that is going to make me forget the Lord, that is foolish. That deity, Prahlad was so strong in his conviction that nobody could shake him. That's the power of satsang also. And when he got satsang when he was in the womb. And see the power of that satsang. If satsang cannot give me conviction and it cannot make me live that conviction, then that means there is some impurity in my mind. Because if purity of mind is there, that satsang will give conviction and I will live that conviction. I don't bother about pressure of the society. That Prahlad withstood everything. And he did not become bitter against his father. That's the best part. He had no bitterness against his father. Father did everything to kill him, but he had no bitterness against the father. That's called aggressive goodness. Bhagwan was more angry with his father than Prahlad was. You just imagine. What is that which devotion can do to a person? So if I am a bhakta, in my heart there not a trace of dvesha can be there. That is true bhakti. Bhagwan got so angry that he said, why are you torturing my devotee so much? And he came to Narsimha Avatar and killed him. And his anger was not satisfied when he killed him. That Hiranyakashipu is lying on his lap, killed. And Bhagwan is still angry, seething with anger. The Devatas are very scared to go near him. What is this? So they send this small Prahlad, you go. And that Prahlad goes, such a small boy. And he goes very cutely and then he sings the praise of Bhagwan and then Bhagwan becomes quiet. And then he takes him and keeps him in his lap. And he says, ask whatever you want. He says, I have nothing to ask. I don't want anything. What a desireless person. And imagine that in Daityas he is born. So people who say that, my environment is not conducive, I can't practice. Prahlad was born amidst the demons, like Vibhishan. In that whole Lanka, that one man is chanting Ram, 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 Ram. And he doesn't compromise. We in our country, as the Hindus, we have to learn this from these kind of devotees. And we have become such weaklings. Hamare desh mein we have become minority. We are going to become minority very soon. Unnecessary. But we don't have that strength. That bhav is not there. That conviction only is not there. Look at these people. All around them is rank materialism. But they protect their spirituality. And they don't blame anybody. And here enough satsang is available to everybody. Still that satsang doesn't make them strong. So weak. That means there is some impurity in the mind. It says, Prahladascha asmi daityanam. Kala kalayatam aham. Among the various destroyers, I am the time. Dissolvers, kalaya to dissolve. Kalayatamaham. Time is a dissolver. Both ways one can see, it is beautiful actually. So if I let go of my painful memories, pain and all that, time will heal, it will dissolve all that. Even my attachment, everything it will dissolve. That's the good part. The difficult part is, in time everything decays. Body will decay, thoughts will decay, everything will decay in time. Kala kalayatamaham. So you don't have to do anything. Just by time it will decay. Even the law of diminishing return works by time only. So kala kalayatamaham. Mriganam cha mrigendroham. Amongst the animals, I am the lion. Vainateyascha pakshinam. I am the Garuda amongst the birds. So Garuda is the Vahana of Vishnu Bhagavan. And it is called Vainateya because it is the son of this Vinita, one of the wives of a king, Vinita. And so it is called Vainateya. I don't remember the father's name, but so this king had two wives. From Vinita was born Garuda, and from this second wife Kadru was born all the serpents. In our scriptures, many examples are there like that. Opposite things. That Kashyap Rishi had. Kashyap Rishi only. Diti and Aditi. Huh? Yeah, Kashyap Rishi only I think. Kardam Rishi is another one. Kashyap Rishi had two wives, Diti and Aditi. So this Aditi gives rise to all the Devatas and Adityas, and Diti gives rise to all the demons. A lot of these are symbolic also to say that our mind has both good and the bad. Which one we encourage, it is up to us. Pavana Pavatam Asmi. Amongst that which purifies, I am the wind. Because wind is such a silent purifier. You open the windows of any place which is closed, in a few minutes it will all get purified. And it does all its work very quietly. Pavana Pavatam Asmi. Rama Shastra Bhatamaham. Amongst the weapon holders, I am Ram. There is no picture of Bhagavan Ram where there will not be a Dhanush. And if somebody makes that picture, that person has made an incomplete picture. Bhagavan is always holding a bow or having a bow near him constantly, meaning very steadfast in doing his duty and very steadfast in protecting righteousness. Rama Shastra Vritamaha. Nothing is more greater to him than doing the duty. And what all sacrifices he did only for the sake of duty. Rama Shastra Vritamaha. Jashanam Makaras Chasmi. So he says, I am the crocodile shark among the fish. Srotasam Asmi Janhavi. Amongst the rivers, I am the Ganga. So Janhavi is the name of Gangaji based on Jannu Muni. So when this Gangaji was brought down, Bhagirath did so much of penance, and finally he pleased Shivji also, and Shivji said, okay, I will receive this Gangaji. And he received this Gangaji and he disappeared. Again Bhagirath did penance and he said, now you please leave one streak at least. So he left one streak of that Gangaji. But that one streak of Gangaji also was so powerful. She came and she flooded that whole Jannu Muni's ashram. That Jannu Muni got very upset. He drank away whole Gangaji. So that Bhagirath Bichara, he was so that first of all Brahmaji told him, Arey, you pray to Shivji. First he did so much of penance to get darshan of Brahmaji. Then Brahmaji came and he said, you do the penance and please Shivji because nobody else can receive him. So he pleased Shivji. Shivji came and he said, what do you want? He said, you have to please receive Gangaji, and I prayed Brahmaji and all. He said, okay, I will receive, and he went away. And then Gangaji is coming down from Vishnu Bhagwan's feet. Shivji takes that Gangaji and disappears. He says, Arey, but you didn't tell me. But Bhagirath, by the time he could tell you receive and leave, Bhagwan disappeared. Again this fellow did the penance, Arey Bhagwan, now you please leave the Gangaji. Then he left Gangaji. She flooded Jannamuni's ashram. He drank away. And now he is telling Jannamuni, Arey, now you please leave. Too much. If we have water connection problem, we should remember Bhagirath only. That our problem is nothing. What Bhagirath went through. And very funny that whole story is that Jannamuni drank away that whole Gangaji, and now this Bhagirath goes and he gets angry with Bhagirath also. That why you call that Gangaji down, and she flooded my whole ashram. So again he told the whole story. This is why I need Gangaji to come, and this, you please. And then Jannamuni said, you wait now. And after some time, then he left that Gangaji from his ear. That's the story. Gurudev used to give such nice explanation of that. It is the story of the passing down of self-knowledge from the Guru to the Shishya. The Guru-Shishya Parampara, which has maintained this self-knowledge and Brahma Vidya in our country, that whole story is that Brahma Vidya cannot be digested by somebody who is not ready. Only a mind like Shivji, who is contemplative mind, can attain that self-knowledge. And when that self-knowledge comes, it is shattering. Because it will shatter everything. No? You just think, hearing to that self-knowledge only, we get very stunned. The world is an illusion. You don't exist. And higher level world only doesn't exist. That listening to that only one gets stunned. If one actually lifts oneself to the highest level, how that experience will be. And that cannot be communicated just like that. So that has to be experienced, digested, and that Jannamuni, otherwise he will come and destroy everything. So that Jannamuni takes it, assimilates, digests it. He is the Guru there. And then that whole tradition is from speaking to listening. That's the way the knowledge has been passed on. The Guru will speak, disciple will listen. And that Guru will not give that knowledge until that Guru has digested. So he says, you wait. And after that he gives that knowledge. So Srotasam Asmi Jannavi. That's why Gangaji is so revered in our country. Because she is just not a river. She is a symbolic flow of self-knowledge, symbolic flow of the Guru-Shishya Parampara, which has sustained Brahma Vidya in our country. And how that whole country's culture is actually fed by this knowledge of our Vedas. So Srotasam Asmi Jannavi. Then he says, Sarganam Adirantascha Madhyam Chaivaham Arjuna. I am the beginning, middle and the end of the whole creation. Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam. Very beautiful. Of all the knowledge, I am spiritual knowledge. Why? Because having gained this knowledge, nothing remains to be gained. That knowledge which really frees me from ignorance, Sa Vidya Ya Vimuktaye. Ya Vidya Sa Vimuktaye. No, Sa Vidya Ya Vimuktaye. That is knowledge which will liberate. That is called knowledge. Same thing, Sa Vidya Ya Vimuktaye. That is Vidya which will liberate. Meaning, free me from my sense of incompleteness, finitude. That is the knowledge, Adhyatma Vidya. Adhi means inside, Atma means the self. So that knowledge about the self within is the supreme knowledge. Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam. And Vada Pravadatamaham. In argument, I am Vada, meaning logical argument. If you see this science of argument, there also they have given. I don't think there is any field that the rishis have left actually. Everywhere they have given so many classifications. So there is one type of discussion which is called Jalpa. Jalpa means you go on talking. Literally Jalpati means a talkative person, goes on talking. But in this Jalpa means whatever I am saying is right. In discussion there will be some people like that. Whatever they say, they will hold on to that. That only is right. Vitanda means I don't know what is the truth, but whatever you are saying is wrong. Yeah, they will be like that. They will prove you wrong. Parliament is our example for that. And literally they oppose. Whether it is good for the country or not, I am in opposition, I will oppose because you are wrong now. A same fellow who was earlier in the opposition, now when he comes to power, that fellow will promote that bill. Very funny it is. Then one wonders, what is this now? So I don't know what is the truth, but you are wrong, so I will oppose. I will vitanda. Then Vivad is where you actually discuss properly, where one is interested in seeking the truth, not opinion. So Jalpa, Vada, Vitanda, one more I forgot. I think Vada only. Vada and Vivada are together, correct? So there are three of these, Jalpa, Vada and Vitanda. He says amongst that I am the one, I am the Vada, meaning I am interested in knowing the truth. That spirit where truth is important, not individual opinion. Whether I said or you said is not important. Truth is important. That's the scientific mind. Aksharana Makarosmi. I am Akara in the Akshara. Why? Because that is there in every alphabet. All pervasivities. Because in Sanskrit, that alphabet is made complete only by addition of a vowel. Otherwise it is, consonant is by itself half, not half, what we call? It's half only. So Ka is actually K plus A. So if a consonant has to become complete, it has to have A in that, or any other vowel. So A is the basic sum. Akara, Aksharanam Akarosmi. Dvandva Samasikasya cha. So in Sanskrit grammar there are many compounds. In that I am Dvandva Samas. So you say Rama Krishna, which means Ramascha Krishnascha Asau Rama Krishna. It's two. Rama also and Krishna also. It's Dvandva Samas. Ahamevakshaya Kalaha. Dhataham Vishwato Mukhaha. Again he speaks about I am time, which is imperishable. Which means what? By itself things perish in time, but otherwise time doesn't get perished. That's why Bhartrihari says Kalo na yata vayameva yata. The time is not passing, we are passing in this time. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, that time is an eternal flow, it will keep going on. In that I am born, I stay and I die. So I am perishable. Things are perishable, but time is not perishable. So ahameva akshaya kalaha dhataham vishwato mukhaha. And I am the dispenser of the fruits of action. That is also such a glory of Bhagavan. How does every jiva get the karma phala of theirs and get the environment to face that karma phala? It's stunning. How Bhagavan maintains the accounts. That which jiva has what account with another jiva, when they should come together, how much they should relate so that that karma account is settled, and when that account is settled, they will part from each other. And how to exhaust that karma phala, that jiva must get a body, and to sustain that body, the appropriate amount of food and nourishment and everything. Stunning actually it is. Just to understand is one aspect, that how does the jiva get the karma phala. That itself is a proof that there is an Ishvara. Otherwise, there cannot be such a sophisticated system. You just think. Even in science, we learn, no, habitat. Every animal has a body according to its habitat. So, if that camel is there in that desert, it has the capacity to sustain water in the body because water is not available. If that polar bear is there in somewhere, Arctic Circle and all that, it has fur and all that. And how does that polar bear live there also? And that vegetation and the food and all that. Even to think that every jiva gets a proper karma phala, that itself is a proof that Bhagavan exists. Shankaracharya ji writes this as one of the proofs for God's existence in his Bhashya on Kenopanishad. At the end, when he is finishing explaining the story of that Yaksha, in that he writes that. There is one point, many points he gives, in that this is one point. That the jiva gets the karma phala, that itself is the proof that Ishvara exists. A system which is mechanical, by itself cannot come into existence like that. Some intelligent entity has to put that system in place. So he says, Aham Vishwato Mukhaha, Mrityu Sarvaharashchaham Udbhavascha Bhavishyatam. I am the death devouring everything which is born and which will be born. Mrityu Sarvaharashchaham. I am the death which devours everything. Udbhavascha Bhavishyatam. What is the prosperity that is going to be born now, later, in the future? He says, I am all that prosperity also. Now is very beautiful line. He says, in women, I am all these qualities. Kirtihi, fame. Shri, prosperity or wealth. Vak, the power of speech. Smriti, memory, remembrance. Medha, intelligence. Dhriti, fortitude. And Shama, forgiveness. And do you know, by the way, most of the qualities are all feminine. Shraddha, Vidya, all these Dhriti, Shama, Smriti. He says, I am all these in the women. Why is choosing these? There are many qualities, but these are some of the special qualities. He says, these are my special manifestations in women. The capacity in the women. So Kirti here doesn't mean just the glory in the whole, what you call it, the world, fame. But Kirti also here means who is remembered the most. The example of selfless love. Does anybody give father's example? Mother's example? Kirti. Shri, wealth. Lakshmi is Devi. And you see how strange it is. Kuber as Devta is portrayed so terribly, we saw yesterday. But Lakshmi as a Devi is very nice. And people say that there is gender bias. What gender bias? Society has done gender bias. Shastra is not doing gender bias. Shastra is to saying that wealth, and earlier days what was the concept? That if you have to marry, the choice is with the woman, not the man. That Swayamvar was done earlier. The woman will choose whether you are fit or not. Nowadays the ulta only everything is. And woman is called as the Graha Lakshmi. Not that when she comes, she brings Lakshmi with her. She is the Graha Lakshmi. That if she comes, my home will become prosperous. And it is a fact only. How much ever man can learn and all that, managing the house is the forte of the woman only. Because those qualities are there in her to manage, to take care, to do so many things. Because that care is there, kindness is there, compassion is there, all that. So, but I am not saying that that alone is the job of the woman. Earlier days, in the Vedic days, they used to be Gurukul teachers also. They used to learn so many things, they used to teach so many things. There was so much of freedom there. The degradation of the culture happens, and everywhere then we find that the man becomes dominant. That itself is a proof of a certain wrong thinking. It is a fact that externally you go and you have to face more and more of rough and tough work, but that doesn't mean the woman is not capable of that. So here he gives all those qualities, because Dhriti is one of the qualities he writes here. Dhriti means the capacity to meet obstacles, face obstacles, and yet achieve the goal. Persistence. Smriti, remembrance. That nobody can beat the woman, 100%. She can remember what happened 30 years ago, one incident, and go on and on and on. The man would have forgotten, Kyare Baba. Positive also, not only negative, both. Smriti. And then Shama, obviously, forgiveness. Now this is the special quality. Bhagavan says these are special qualities which are my vibhuti in the women. So if we manifest all these qualities, that is the glory of Bhagavan in all of us, in all the women. Brihat Sama Tatha Samnam, amongst the hymns I am the Brihat, Gayatri Chandasamaham. Lot of people misunderstand this line. Yes, among the mantras I am Gayatri mantra. Bhagavan didn't say that. Bhagavan said among the meter I am Gayatri. Chandas is the science of meter. So you compose the poetry in a certain restriction. There are many meters, like this Gita is Anushtup meter. There is also Trishtup meter in the Gita, where in every quarter will be 8 syllables Anushtup, 11 syllables Trishtup. So Gayatri like that is 24 syllables. And there are many Gayatri mantras. It says many mantras written in the meter called Gayatri. It says among the meter I am the Gayatri meter. Why he says like that? Because the most powerful mantra, it is said the essence of the Vedic knowledge is in the Gayatri mantra. So Gayatri Chandasamaham. Masanam Margashirshoham. Among the months, I am the Margashirsha month. The December and January, that time it comes. Ritunam Kusumakaraha. And I am the spring amongst the seasons. Vasanta Ritu, because obviously everything is in full bloom that time.
Yesterday we had to find out one season.
Did you find one season? Pre-winter. That way you can say pre-summer, pre-rain also.
6 seasons.
6 seasons which are there. What are the 6 seasons? Summer, winter, rain, autumn, spring. One more. Google is so... I also don't remember now. But we were taught in childhood, 6 seasons. Or we learned only 4. In India 4 are there. But actually there are 6. They teach like that only. That's how I learned.
It's called season of moonlit nights.
No.
It's a proper season.
It's a proper season. Basant is only Basant, spring.
Vasant is spring.
Spring.
Autumn is fall.
I will do again and come back. One more month you have to find out. Huh? Shishir is the autumn, no?
Hemant.
So Hemant, Shishir, Grishma, Varsha, Vasant, and then one more. Sharad. These are 6 in our Sanskrit. I don't know in English what you call that.
It says early winter. Hemant is early winter. And Shishir is late winter.
Okay, chalo.
Maybe that way.
Early winter, late winter. Okay. Fine. So the point is amongst the seasons I am spring. Ritunam Kusumakaraha.
Actually now is Vasant.
Right now it is started, no? Vasant Ritu. It's going on. With that Gudi Padwa it starts. In some it starts before also. Vaisakhi and all that it starts. Dyutam chalayatam asmi. This is little stunning. I am gambling amongst the deceiving games. Deceitful games, in that I am gambling. One has said I am gambling. What to do? Especially to Arjun, because he would have got so angry saying, because of that only we went to forest 13 years. But I am gambling. Because the point is that in that gambling you test your luck. That's all. There are many games like that which are harmful. Amongst that he says, I am gambling. When you meet him, you ask him, why do you say this?
So then people will say it's good to
Yeah,
gamble.
if
then
you
Bhagwan is
stop, you're
saying-
gambling. If you play a roulette game, you're gambling. If you play cards, you're gambling.
That is true. So you can take it in that interpretation, that way it is proper. That gambling is not just a game. In every aspect, one is gambling only. How does one even know which karma phala I will get? I am writing my exam. It's gamble only, no? So many people become so, they get so qualified, do big thing, IIT, this, that, and then finally start writing books. So whole education was gamble only. Why did you do?
Life is only like gambling.
Then it says deceitful.
Yeah, in deceitful practice. That's why I said, so if interpretation we take, then these are interpretations. Extended meanings they are. Otherwise it's in deceitful games. He says, I am gambling. Because in gambling, you can just,
All on luck.
it's in a moment you become from hero to pauper, from pauper to hero. So it's not only the game, it will be any type of lottery or whatever, all that gambling.
So then gambling and say, I am with the Lord. Because
But did you do that as Bhava Bhagwan, then you will leave that gambling. If you really think of Bhagwan while doing that gambling, that Bhakti Bhava will make you say, what is this
People
gambling?
remember more while gambling because it's a lag jayega.
They don't remember Bhagwan for the sake of Bhagwan. They remember Bhagwan for the sake of getting my number or getting that. That's all. They don't remember Bhagwan as Bhagwan. Dhuta chalaitamaha. In one way one can say that Bhagwan was very impartial. He didn't say only all goody things. He said, I am this also. Because everything is his manifestation. That's the beauty in our culture. There is no Satan which is separate. Bhagwan doesn't put the blame on Satan saying, this is Satan, this is not me. Okay? There is nothing like that. He said, this is also me only. But if you see it as him, then you won't indulge in it. You will get out of it very soon. So, Dyuta Chalaytam Asmi Tejas Vinamaham. I am the brilliant in the brilliant. I am the victory, Jayosmi, Vyavasayosmi. I am that one who is doing, Vyavasaya can mean business also, Vyavasaya can mean strong determination also. Sattvam Sattvavatamahamam, and I am the goodness amongst the good. Vrishninam Vasudevaha, amongst the Vrishni Kula, Bhagwan is born in Vrishni Kula. So he is Vasudeva, means he is giving, I am that. And amongst the Pandavas, he says you. Just imagine hearing this from Bhagwan's mouth. And Bhagwan is telling Arjuna that amongst the Pandavas, I am you. How blessed Arjuna should be to listen to that from Bhagwan's mouth, that he is the glory of Bhagwan only. Pandavanam Dhananjaya. Muninam apyaham Vyasa. Amongst the Munis, I am Vyasa Rishi. Kavinam Ushana Kavihi. Ushana Kavihi literally means not that there is a Kavi in the name of Ushana. Ushana Kavi means a seer who can see subtle things. Kavi literally means Krantadarshi, who can see the subtlest which is not obvious to us. Like the name and form is obvious to us, but Satchidananda is not obvious to us. The vision of that subtlest essence that person has is called as a Kavi. Gurudev has written, Anandagiri identifies Ushana with Shukra, the planet Shukra, Venus. Otherwise, there is no other place where there is a seer called Ushana. And there also there is Anandagiri. He does not explain how he connects this Shukra and this Ushana together. So in general, actually, Kavi means Akrantadarshi. Dando Damayatam Asmi. Of all that which can be used for controlling, I am Danda, meaning punishment. Niti Rasmi Jigi Shatam, and I am the Niti amongst those who seek victory, meaning those who seek success and victory, I am the righteous path which they should use for that. Maunam Chaivasmi Guhyanam, amongst all the different secrets, I am Maunam. The highest secret is revealed only through Maunam, that you are that self. Dakshinamurti Bhagavan used Maunam to explain Brahma Vidya. Jnanam Jnanavatamaham, I am the knowledge in the knowledgeable. So he says, ultimately now all this he covers, and then he says, whatever is the seed of all the beings, know that to be me. Yachapi sarva bhutanam bijam tad aham Arjuna. And without me, na tadasti vinasyat. Maya bhutam characharam. Whether it is moving, non-moving, they cannot even exist without me. Forget them manifesting these powers. So the existence of everything is dependent on Bhagavan. Then what to talk about the special powers that they are manifesting? That also obviously comes from the Lord. So having given all these, Bhagavan himself says now that there is no end to my glories. Now I can keep going on, but you have to fight the war now. He says, Na anta asti mama divyanam vibhutinam parantapa. Esha tu deshata prokta vibhute vistaro maya. But in a brief way, I have given you my different glories. And now he says very nicely that whatever is glorious in the world, know that to be my manifestation. So the 80 example that he has given, those are very small glimpses. He says anything that you see which is glorious in this world, consider that to be my expression. Yadyad vibhutimat sattvam shrimad urjitameva. Whatever is glorious, prosperous, powerful, tattadeva avagachatvam. Know that mama tejomsha sambhavam. It is born from my brilliance. So any brilliance that we have, any talent that we have, any glory we see outside, everything comes from the Bhagavan, from the Lord. That bhav when we have, we will remain humble and surrendered, power will not go into our head, and more importantly, we will remain connected to Bhagavan. That's why this whole thing is Vibhuti Yoga. That this Vibhuti of Bhagavan can unite me with the Lord. Vibhuti Yoga. Now last verse, let us chant. Athava bahunaitena kim jnatena tavarjuna Vishtabhyahamidam kritsnam Ekamshena sthito jagat. The Lord says, what use is knowing so many things, Arjun? So many glories, how much will you keep knowing all this? Just understand the basic principle. That this entire universe is supported by only one amsha of mine. So forget all the special vibhutis. This whole world itself is a vibhuti. The whole creation is a vibhuti of Bhagavan. And that is a manifestation of one small little amsha of his. Eka amshena sthito jagat. That in one small little aspect of his, this whole universe is happening. That's why the Purusha Suktam also says that if the Lord is considered as the whole, then 1/4 is the creation, which is manifest. 3/4 are unmanifest, they are not even there. And what we see itself is so mighty, so huge. Idea is how our intellect can conceive of that infinite, and in that glory, in that magnitude of that infinite, we lose our pettiness and unite with the Lord. So that is this Vibhuti Yoga.